Hey brother, welcome back to this series on making of a nice guy. In this video, I want to talk to you about the powerful programming of music, the words in music specifically. I want to tell you my story and how music affected me in my formative years growing up and how I adopted some of the stories that were in the music that I listened to and how those stories have tried to play themselves out through my thoughts, through my feelings, through my behavior, according to the rules, the ways that I thought things were supposed to go, and who I thought I needed to be in order to survive in the world. And then I want to hear your story. So when I was a kid, my parents listened to country music. That's pretty much all we listened to. In fact, there was only a time briefly where I had a babysitter who actually listened to pop or country, not pop, in fact, there was a point in my childhood where I briefly had a babysitter who actually listened to rock and roll. And that was my first real exposure to rock and roll, because back in that day when there were concerts that happened where people got injured and the news covered those concerts. And so my parents were kind of against rock and roll. They sort of jumped on that bandwagon where everybody said that rock and roll music was of the devil and things like that. And I know it sounds maybe absurd to think of these days because it's so pervasive in our culture, but that's how they thought and that's where they were. And so they listened to a lot of country music thinking that it was better than rock and roll. Now, when I look back on the songs that they listened to though, they listened to a lot of songs about infidelity and cheating and heartbreak and scarcity and lack and not enough, not good enough, a loss of love, a loss of meaning and purpose without another person. And when you go back and listen to those songs, I've gone back and listened to those country music songs, the ones that were my most favorite, the ones that the melody was good or the beat was good or there was something about the song that I liked. When I, as an adult, on this journey doing this work for myself, when I go back and I listen to those songs, I hear all kind of unhealthy messages, like I'm not whole without you, I'm not complete, you're my everything. I want you so much, like all-consuming, that there's no separation, there's no she and he and we. It's fused and enmeshed and connected at the hip, and that there's no room to breathe, and it's not healthy. And so I've had to go back and listen to those songs and identify those messages and be able to let those songs go. No longer adopt the stories that are in those songs and try to live those out, or live in fear that something in those songs was going to happen to me, that my wife was going to leave me, that she was going to cheat on me, that something terrible was going to happen. Now, I'm not saying those things don't happen. People get divorced all the time. There's infidelity all the time. It happens. Those songs existed for a reason. They're actually songs, if you look, are songs that are selling ideas. They're selling concepts. They're either selling the concept of eternal love, of perfect love, or they're selling songs of heartache and heartbreak and remorse and that sort of thing. So we have to take a look at those songs and decide for ourselves, consciously decide for ourselves, which one of those things are we going to integrate. And so a long time ago, somebody said to me something that I thought was very insightful and kind of humorous a little bit, is they asked me, how much poo do you want in your drinking water? So if you had a source of water, how much feces would you actually want in it? Would you want just a drop? Would just a drop be okay? And the answer is no. And that's what happens with our mind. Our mind is like fresh drinking water. It's a pure pool of resources for us to draw from. And we have to ask ourselves, how much feces do we want in our drinking water, in our minds? And so we get to choose what messages we put in there. We're not trying to be Pollyanna. We're not trying to deny that things happen in the world. We're not trying to bury our head in the sand, but we are making conscious choices about what we put into our mind and what we agree to, So if you haven't read the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, I highly recommend you do, because he talks about this. He talks about the assigned meaning that we come up with, the set of rules and operating instructions that we come up with. And Sometimes we get those from music. Sometimes we get those from movies and television shows and stories. We get them from observing and interpreting and assigning meaning to things. And we have to be careful about that. We want to actually start to better understand our beliefs. What stories have we told ourselves? What have we agreed to? What have we adopted for ourselves that we're trying to live by? And are those rules serving us? We want to become aware of them, conscious of them, so that we can challenge them, so we can ask ourselves, is that true? Does that serve me? Do I want to live that way? Do I want to believe that anymore? Do I want to operate that way? We want to be owners of our life. We want to be powerful creators of our life. We want to make choices for ourselves. We don't want to automatically, unconsciously be ruled by an automatic set of scripts, an automatic set of rules that we just react to emotionally and then get a set of results that we don't like. We want to actually be able to observe and think and consider and decide what we want to do and who we want to be and where we want to go and what we want to experience and who we want to spend our time with. When we get that kind of clarity, it makes our decisions about how to operate in the world very clear, but we've got to be able to identify our beliefs and challenge them first. So that's what I want to help you do. That's what I'm inviting you into on this video. There's a link in the description where you can pick a day and time that works best for you to schedule a phone call. And I want to talk to you. I want to hear your story. I want to hear your beliefs, your rules that you've created for yourself. I want to be able to walk and talk with you. I want to ask clarification questions so that you can get clear about what it is that you believe, what you have agreed to, and what it is that you want for yourself in your life. I want to be able to share my insights and perspective with you, insights from men that I have worked with, I have coached, and I also want to be able to point to resources so that you can surface your own answers for yourself, because this is a journey that you are on. This is a journey that we are all on, whether we know it, whether we recognize it, or whether we own it or not. It's a journey that we are on in order to be in complete mastery of ourselves so that we can live the way that we want to live and not just be subject to and reactive to these beliefs that we have in our head. So that's the conversation I'm inviting you into. I can't wait to hear your story and to help you challenge your beliefs. Click on the link in the description below, pick a day and time that works for you, and let's talk. And until then, be kind to yourself, brother, and I'll talk to you soon.